What's going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris, and welcome to Feel Good Happiness. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to tune in to today's episode. I would like to extend my gratitude out to those who have continued to support me from the very beginning up to this very moment. Thank you all so much. And for my newcomers, those who aren't quite familiar with this platform, thank you all too. I'm just grateful to have listeners. Even when it was just one person, I was just so grateful to be able to just provide you all with such optimism and such feel-good material. And not just material that's made to make you feel good, but material overall that's made to make you think on ways to better your own life. I'm not some sort of a guru with this. I just take my experience and take my good energy, give it to you all through these airways. Speaking of which, I'd like to extend my gratitude out to the G2 Radio Network, hosted by Dr. Jason Gordon, partnered with his husband, Othel. Thank you all so much for allowing this show to not only be featured on your radio show, but be featured on your radio show twice a week. Because ultimately, we all want the same thing, to get the message out there to help the world continue to be a better place. And that's all this is about. And for the listeners, I want you all to know that whatever it is that you want to set your mind to, that you want to achieve, it is absolutely attainable. I know for those who have listened to me for several episodes, I might sound like a broken record, but I promise you it bears repeating. You must never give up on the journey. You have to continue on the journey. If it is something that you don't want, then don't do it. But trust me, it is easier said than done. When it comes to achieving anything, it requires grit and determination and the will to sustain that confidence, which will waver at times. The task to become what you want to become is not a simple task. But if you truly want to become whatever it is that you seek, that is worth the torment and the pain and overall the time that it might take until it's your turn. Now, before I dive deep into it, I want to provide a fun fact, something that I saw across the internet. I'm going to implement this into future episodes, but a fun fact for you all. For all my cat lovers, I'm sorry, but apparently there are some cats who are allergic to people. And can you believe that? There are cats that already don't really want to be bothered by people. You are on their time. Dogs are a lot different in the sense of you can hug on them, you can love on them, you can leave for 5 minutes, come back, and then they will jump all over you like they hadn't seen you in years. But try that with a cat and see if that response is reciprocated. Absolutely not. I find that kind of funny because if you see a stray cat, for example, most stray cats kind of look at you, and when they realize that you're paying attention to them, they start to kind of prance back, and then they look at you again. And then they run away, and then they turn back and they look at you again, and then they just repeat it. It's like a game of cat and mouse. They want you, but they don't really want you. But they want to know that they're being chased before they're out of sight. But I'd like to pivot to something I feel is necessary to speak about. In the past, I've spoken about leaders, and is it better to be feared or is it better to be loved as a leader? I'm going to kind of tie back into that in which I spoke of previously, but not in the sense that it might seem. I think it is important to care for your people. You need to care for your team. You need to care for them. I recently filled out this survey called the DEOC survey. Please don't ask me what the acronym is. I can't quite remember it from the top of my head. Right now, at the time of this recording, it's past midnight. So forgive me, I can't quite remember it, but I was compelled to come into my studio and just drop this and record this episode because it was on my heart and I just wanted to say it. But I recently filled out this DEOC survey, pretty much a survey that just tells the leadership how well or how poor that they're doing, or where do they need improvements, where do the members who are taking the survey feel that their leadership can improve on. Now, I haven't shied away in the past on whether I had been displeased or have been overjoyed with leadership previously. Previously, I had feedback I provided to my previous leadership that was met with, let's just say, it was met with a little bit of disdain, because overall the culture of where I used to be wasn't conducive of what was being promoted. And I just wanted to speak honestly in regards to that. No disrespect or anything that was tossed, but when you speak to the younger people and they give you their hearts and they let you know that this is what's concerning them, and then these issues continue to be issues and there's no resolution with the issues. I get it. If you're complaining just to complain without a solution to back up that complaint, then it's just complaining. And for me, I don't think that is helpful. But if you have legitimate concerns backed with palpable solutions, I can ride with that. I can rock with that. I can bring that up the chain and channel it up and try to get something resolved. But if we are having people either not taking these type of surveys or we're not having these people speak up, then the issues continue to persist. And the few who are involved in the issues just have those issues swept under the rug, and that's not cool. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because where I'm at currently, I have a team of leaders who, without denial, absolutely have shown through their actions that they care. It's not a matter that they use their words, and it's not just a simple fact that they verbalize their care, which I also believe that to be important. But how is it backed with action above and beyond? This, by far, is the best team I have ever worked with in terms of my leaders. From the top down, it seems that the culture is one of caring. There are standards, of course, holding people to high regards, holding them to a standard, but they care about their people. I'm brand new to this area, and in the time that I've been here, they have been more than accommodating for me, and they didn't have to be. Because where I came from, they did not accommodate me in the way that it was necessary based on medical issues that was presented to them from the doctors, and they still decided to not help me. But this leadership has done a complete 180 on my perspective when it comes to leaders and the way that they verbalize how they would like to help you. But the reason why I bring that up is because we need to get to a place, whether you are a supervisor or you're a unit leader or you're in charge of an entire element or squadron or how do I even translate this into civilian world? You're just in charge of a large quantity of people. As a leader, you want to be able to take care of your people. Granted, you won't please everyone, but there is a such thing as being fair. There is a such thing as being a person who is willing to listen and willing to take what you're saying and put their own spin on it to make the environment a better environment. Being empathetic will take people so far. And I believe that there are those who are in leadership positions that choose not to do that. They made it as far as they did based on their style. And by no means am I suggesting anybody change who they are as a person. It should go without saying that it is important to adapt to the circumstance and maybe mold your style to the needs of your people. Overall, you lay the standard down and uphold those standards, but you want to treat everybody as individuals. You want to get to know your people. You want to take care of your people, because if you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. Yes, burnout is a real thing, but they are less likely to get burnt out if you make them feel like they are an asset. You make them feel like they're not replaceable, and not literally replace them as soon as they are sick and that they're not coming back to work. They're not coming back to the mission. They're not coming back to the fight. You don't have to make them feel like they are actually replaceable in a game where they are replaceable. Everyone is replaceable in any position, but the best type of leaders don't make you feel like you're replaceable. And that's, in my experience, of what I've learned. And I believe that to be a cause of leaders who take time to care for who they have working for them or working with or collaborating, or however we want to verbalize this. It's a team overall. No one's better than the other. Somebody in a higher position has been put in that position because he or she has proven that they are worthy enough to hold that slot to be able to lead people. But it is absolutely up to that person to set the standard and set it high and make sure that whatever it is that he or she is promoting, that they too follow their own lead. We need to get to a point to where It's not so much about being nice as it is about being respectful and being generous to people who absolutely deserve it. We don't know what most of these individuals are going through when they show up to school, when they show up to work, when they come home. We don't know. We have no clue. But if you have people in higher positions that's just making your life more miserable, it's not adding to the cause. The best type of leaders will recognize something is not right with their member. Even if they don't know the member, they have somebody in position that might recognize it, and they'll make sure that that gets taken care of. Get to a point to where we can take great care of our people. Get to a point where it is absolutely a mandate to make sure that the productivity of your team is priority number one. And in that, you want to make sure that they are not feeling overwhelmed. And if they are, then what can we take off of their plate to help them alleviate the feeling of being overwhelmed? Is it that this one person has more than this other? Okay, can we balance some things out? What can we do to make it better? How can we help this person be better? How can I help you overall? That's what this is about. It's about trying to find a way to be able to still be who you are as a person, remain authentic to yourself, while at the same time adapting to the circumstances to better suit the needs of your team. And that's it. And the best type of leaders know how to do that. The takeaway from this is we absolutely need to take care of our people, whether it's our family members, whether it's our friends, whether it's our acquaintances whom we work with or we go to school with. We want to make sure that we take care of our people. It is honest to goodness not hard. People just overcomplicate it because they want to be extra. It is not that serious. We just need to simply care for our people, hold them to a standard, and if they're not meeting that standard, find out why. Don't just immediately punish them or threaten them with some sort of paperwork, because that doesn't do anything but create and foster a culture of walking on eggshells and being afraid. And that's not healthy either. I was in an environment like that where I came previously, and I've been in environments like that. And it just doesn't foster a healthy environment. People are going to be intimidated and scared. And some people like that. Some people want their ego stroked, and it makes them feel better when they know that they have people who are scared of them. And I don't think that's the way to live. Everybody will die at some point. Everybody. Nobody will live forever. So why not, during the time you are here and you are alive, why not make a change? Why not be the change that you seek? Why not add value and add love and add fulfillment to people's life when you're in a position where you can help do that? Why make it more miserable for people? That is not something that I will understand, but truth be told, that is not something that I seek to understand. And on that note, I would like to say thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to tune into today's episode. One last fruitful thought before I let you all head on out of here, and that is, how often do you get a chance to see sunlight? How often do you get a chance to step outside and get some of that natural vitamin D? Are you in an area where it rains all the time? I am. Are you in an area where it snows often? Are you in an area where it's dark 23 hours out of the day and you just pray for sunlight? Well, if you are in those circumstances, I encourage you to try to find a source of vitamin D that you can consume on a day-to-day basis so that you will not run the risk of being depressed. Now, I was in California for 8 years plus, and I'm here in Washington right now. And the first thing that I noticed is how muggy and rainy it is up here. When we drove into Washington, closer to the Seattle area, it was raining. Don't really get as much sunlight around here. We do receive sunlight, but it's not as frequent as it was when I was in California. Sometimes people take for granted what they have in front of them the whole time. So if you are in those areas and you lack the natural source of vitamin D, please find a source of vitamin D so that you don't run the risk of being in a depressive state, because it will sneak up on you before you know it. All right, you all, thank you all again for your time, and I'll catch you next time.